What is going on, guys? It is so great to be back with you today. Just been lounging around, not doing much. It is raining out. It's been raining for days, man. We're going to get rain for the next 2 days. Tomorrow we're going to try to get out here and change some spark plugs in the old V-Ride. Change the belt. Probably the fuel filter, and that's about it. But hey, I wanted to let you know, you guys who were in on the fundraiser to help that lady Angie, she did get baptized this weekend. So what a blessing, what a blessing. It's amazing what the Lord can do for people and what he can do with people. I am living proof of that, and I just want to thank him today for that. I want to thank him for the friends I have, my buddy Randall, my buddy Dave, my buddy Tom, all the people that he's brought into my life that have made my life better. And there's a lot of you guys, man. Edward Molina, my buddy John up in Michigan, my buddy another one up in Michigan there. Jim's Lawn and Tree. But anyway, today we're going to talk about what do you do when the customer refuses to pay you, and how do you go about collecting your money. Now, I got to admit, this one is going to be where I'm going to need some of you guys to chime in, because ladies, men, whatever, I have only had that situation probably twice. So I know my buddy Dalen has been asking me, like, man, can you do a video about it? So you guys in the comments, let me know, how you do it. But I'm going to talk about what I do with it. So let me set you up so I don't have to hold this thing, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so got the heater on. It's going to shut off anytime. So I've had a couple people not pay me in the past, okay? And so for me, I don't like a bunch of hassle, man. I don't like chasing around after money. I don't like chasing people, bothering them. The first time it happened to me, it was one cut, okay? One cut, I just let it go. Honestly, I was getting too busy and they weren't answering the phone, and I was like, you know what, if you don't want to answer the phone, I'm just going to stop cutting your yard. And I went by the house probably 6 weeks in a row, and the yard had not been cut. After the first week that they didn't answer the phone, I knocked on the door, no answer to the door. Eventually, I did notice there was a tag on their door, and this was not in the greatest of neighborhoods, so it wasn't like, this was way back when I started, but I just ate it. It was $30, man, $30. Now, I had one situation where I was doing for a commercial client, and this is another reason I'm not into commercial work. Gentleman paid me, owned a auto service center. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to put the name out. But he owned an auto service center in Gahanna, Ohio. And I had to basically beg to get paid. It was around $700. Got paid. 3 days later, the bank called me. And they said, hey, that check you gave us, it bounced. Thank goodness for my bank. So I called the gentleman and I said, hey, we got a problem, man. I said, not only did the check bounce, but now I got to come up with 35 bucks to cover the bounce check. And he was like, yeah, man, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. It took 4 days. I finally went to the auto service center, pulled in, saw him, and I said, okay, we're going to get this taken care of today, because he goes, well, you want me to write you a check? I was like, no more checks, okay? Your bank is right across the street. That's my bank. I'll follow you to the bank. You pay me. He did pay me in cash, and he did give me the extra $35. So I had to walk in, take care of that right then and there from outside. It was very time consuming and very frustrating. Okay, so that was one of the reasons I don't handle commercial work. I just don't want it. The last situation I had was earlier not this year, but last year. I was doing a yard, and I kind of told you guys, someone has not paid me, and this is the last time I'm cutting the yard. And it was 3 weeks later, they finally wrote me a check for the remainder of the season, plus what they owed me. And I went out and cut that yard, and it was bad. And it was a very upscale neighborhood. So they were looking bad, neighbors were complaining, and they had no other choice but to pay. So now I've heard guys say, well, I keep cutting, and I keep adding it up what they owe me, and then I just take it to court at a certain point. Well, okay, I can understand that, but for me, I don't want to spend $500-600 to collect $500 or $600. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like I've told you guys, I get paid at the end of the month for the service for that month. So if one person was to not pay me for that month, I would discontinue service for the following month until they paid or it was gone. I'm not going to take someone to court over $160, okay? I personally learned my lessons, and once I've learned that lesson about that, I don't have to go through that again to learn. When I get a new customer, they have to pay me up front for the first month. After that, and I know they're going to be on time with me every week, I allow them to go month to month. But I'm not going to spend $500, take somebody to court to get $160 back. At some point, and I will not continue to cut and continue to cut and continue to cut and then just say, well, this is what you owe me, now I'm taking you to court. If any of you have been to small claims court, you know what it's like. They don't write you a check that day, okay? They just owe you. And they can owe you for 10 years. And it basically goes ahead and goes on to their credit. And they can just let it sit there without ever paying you. It just hurts their credit. So this is not something that I make a habit of doing. If I find out after the first month the person is not going to pay, I've learned my lesson. I move on. Now, that's how I've dealt with it. I don't know how you guys deal with it, so I need some of you ladies and guys and that own businesses to step up and say, hey, here's what I did, here's how I handle it, because this is a legitimate question that Dalen is asking to be answered, and the only answer I can give is the one I just gave. I don't have all the know-how as to the legal part of it, and I just have never been through it, so I don't know. So if you guys could please leave comments. How did you handle it? Have you ever been through it? what do you do? You know, I mean, for me, 4 cuts, 1 cut, whatever, you're done. I have dropped customers over the fact that it's been hard to get a hold of them to get paid. I don't want that hassle. I'm trying to make things easier on me as I get older, not harder and more difficult. I feel like where I'm at right now, I have a awesome mixture of clients. Some like to pay weekly, most paid monthly, some like to pay 6 months in advance, some even like to pay for the entire year. So I feel good about that. But that's the only advice I can give you guys. Don't let it get too far gone before you cut service off. That's me. That's what I'm going to tell you, Dalen. And anybody else out there who is watching this video thinking, man, yeah, what do I do? Because there are options for us, okay? There are options. I just don't know what all the options are, because I would rather lose $160 and learn a lesson than to pay $500 to get $160 back. And I don't know what small claims court costs, guys. I just know you better have an attorney, or you can represent yourself if you're a fool. And I don't know what happens in those things. I've never been in that situation. So I hope you guys will help, and I hope this raises a, something we can all talk about in the future as to, because honestly, if you think about it, man, people are in like super high credit card debt right now. What's more important to them, paying for the lawn service or paying their credit card off? You got to really think about who you're dealing with when you grab. A lot of these guys somebody will just come up and say, hey, can you cut my yard? Oh, sure, I'll cut your yard. That's how you vet your customers. Just the simple fact they asked you to cut their yard and you said yes. I have a vetting process, man, when it comes to my customers. I need to know what you're like. I need to get to know you through conversation. I don't just take someone right off the bat. I've turned down more work last year by people calling me on the phone and saying, yeah, I live at this address. Can you just look at it and give me a quote and I'll be back and just go ahead and take care of it? No, I don't do business that way. That's me. I mean, a lot of people do, but those accounts tend not to last very long. So anyway, guys, hope that kind of puts something in your head to think about this year when you're going after customers. And, hopefully you guys are like me and you've had your customers for years and you don't have to worry about that. But for you new guys, think about what type of customer you want to have in your head and make sure that's the customer you go after. Make sure you're not just taking work to have something to do. That's a dangerous part right there. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something. We'll be back tomorrow. I might have my buddy Steve Schroyer here tomorrow helping me. Met him the other day. Steve, you are a top-notch dude. Guy lives literally like a half mile to 3/4 of a mile from Sarah and I. Him and his wife and their son. And he is just a great guy. We had lunch with him. Super guy. And yeah, so guys, as always, Dr. Real was in the house. Keep it real. I hope you guys have a blessed day. No matter what, God loves you like he loves me. And he's just waiting for you, man. Just listen to him. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.